In today's video, I'm breaking down 6 hard-hitting lessons that every young man needs to learn now, before life teaches you the hard way. These insights will arm you for success, letting you capitalize on them early and ending up way ahead of where I was in my 20s. I'm Ryan Solberg, a retired Marine Corps officer who's lived these truths firsthand. So let's jump right into it, starting with my first point. So the first point I want to make, most successful people got there through hard work, not luck or talent. And I think this is the most damaging lie told to young people today. We live in a victim culture. And I'm not saying that to be harsh. I'm saying that because it's the truth. And it needs to be called out. Today it is easier to play the victim than it is to work hard. Social media rewards it, the news rewards it, some schools reward it, and even pop culture in general. If you can point your finger at someone else for your problems, you get sympathy, you get attention, and sometimes you even get money. So why would anyone take personal responsibility anymore? The answer is most people won't. And that is exactly why the ones who do are going to win. Here's what I was told when I grew up. Rich people are lucky. That's what my parents told me. If somebody had a nice house or a nice car, the message was, oh, they got lucky. And then watching pro sports, seeing pro athletes, it was because they were born talented or born gifted. And yes, while there is a kernel of truth to that, all of them worked hard. So I would hear all that and just think, well, there's no way I can make it to the pro level. And don't get me wrong, there is some kernel of truth to that. Some of them are very talented, but 100% of them worked really hard to get to where they are. And I'm not blaming my parents for this. This is honestly what they believed. It's what they were taught. But it was bad advice, and it held me back. So here's the truth. The vast majority of wealthy people earned what they have. When you look at the actual data on wealth in this country, it's something like less than 1% of the people who inherited their wealth. Less than 1%, and the rest built it. Through hard work, through sacrifice, through showing up when they didn't feel like it, through failing and trying again. Nobody handed it to them. They went and they got it. And those pro athletes you think were just born great, these guys were working their butts off 24/7. They were taking thousands of reps when no one was watching. They were doing the work before anyone even knew their name. Now, granted, not everyone's going to be Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, no matter how hard they tried, but those guys still had to put in a lot of work. Now, that's discipline. Talent might get you noticed, but it's work that makes you great. The victim mentality is a trap, and once you fall into it, it is incredibly hard to climb out of. Because the moment you convince yourself that the reason you're not succeeding is because of someone else, the system, your background, your circumstances, you have just handed your power over to those things. You've made yourself helpless, and helpless people don't build anything. So don't do it. Own your outcomes, work hard. So for this next one, I'll be straightforward because it is straightforward. If you loan money to a friend or family member and you are sitting there expecting to see it again, you've already made a mistake. Because what you've done is turned a relationship into a financial transaction. And you set yourself up to be disappointed and resentful. And here's the thing. The other person often knows they're not going to pay you back before they even ask you. So think about that. Now, I'm not saying nobody's going to pay you back. I mean, friends and family might fall on hard times and need some help. But I'm just saying, if you're going to loan money, don't expect it to come back to you. So here's my rule. If you can't afford to give it away, then don't loan it. If you hand someone money in your mind, it's gone. It was a gift. If they pay you back, great. You were pleasantly surprised. But don't count on it. Don't stress about it. Don't bring it up at Thanksgiving dinner. The moment you start keeping score, you've already lost something more valuable than the money. I've seen this destroy friendships. It's destroyed some of my friendships. It creates family feuds that last decades. The loan itself is rarely the problem. It's the expectation and the resentment that follows that poisons everything. Money has a way of exposing what a relationship is really made of, and sometimes you're not going to like what you see. Either give it away freely with no expectation, or say no. Those are your two options, and there's nothing wrong with saying no. So this one's going to sound cynical to some people, but it's not. It's just the reality we live in. We live in a world now that is absolutely flooded with people and institutions telling you what to think, what to believe, who to trust. And a huge portion of them, I would argue most of them, have an agenda that has nothing to do with your best interest. The sooner you accept that, the clearer everything gets. Now I want to talk about the word expert for a second. I have completely lost respect for that word. I used to hear the experts say, and I would pay attention. I would take it seriously. That word used to mean something, but not anymore. So 2020 to 2021 changed everything for me, as I'm sure it did for a lot of you. When I watched what happened during that time, the messaging, the flip-flopping, the outright contradictions from people who are held up as the authority on something, I realized something. A lot of these experts on television are not there because they're the most knowledgeable people in their field. They're willing to say what they're paid to say. They are mouthpieces. They push an agenda, whether it's political, financial, or institutional, whatever it is. And they do it with a straight face and a credential hanging behind them on the wall. I watch people get silenced, ridiculed, and professionally destroyed for simply asking questions. That's not science, that's not expertise, that's politics. It's not just the media either. Question everything. Do your own research. Be willing to sit with uncertainty rather than just accepting whatever narrative is being pushed at you that week. The most dangerous thing you can do is outsource your thinking to someone with a title. And it's not just institutions, it's people in your personal life too. Trust is something that has to be built over time. Through consistency, through honesty, through someone showing you, not telling you, who they are. Anyone can tell you they have your back. Not many people actually will when it costs them something. So the lesson isn't to be paranoid. The lesson is watch what people do, not what they say. Give trust slowly. Take it back quickly if it's violated. And stop outsourcing your thinking to people just because someone put a title in front of their name. So now we're going to shift gears and talk about a completely different topic for young men. Guys don't have girlfriends without an ulterior motive. That's just the way it is. And yes, there are some few rare exceptions where a guy and a girl have been friends since they were 4 years old. But that's the exception. That's not the rule. So when a guy is pursuing a woman and telling her, I just want to be your friends, no strings attached, I just care about you, that kind of stuff, he has a motive. I'm not saying every guy is a bad person, but 99% of the time there's another motive. Men are wired a certain way, and pretending otherwise doesn't help anyone. If you're a young woman watching this, understand that dynamic. If you're a young man, be self-aware enough to understand it yourself. This works in both directions. As a young man, you need to understand your own motives and be honest about them. Don't string someone along under the pretense of friendship when you know what you actually want. That's not respect for her or yourself. Have the courage to be straight about your intentions. People appreciate honesty a lot, more than they let on, and it saves everyone a lot of wasted time. And you also need to understand the world you're operating in. Not everyone who presents themselves as a friend has friendship on their minds. The sooner you understand this, the better decisions you'll make. In relationships, in who you spend your time with, in how you present yourself. There are people who will get close to you for what you can provide. Your status, your resources, your connections. And the moment those things are gone, so are they. So be honest, be direct, and know the game that's being played around you. So this next topic I've covered extensively in my other videos, so I'll keep this one brief. But it absolutely belongs on this list because it destroys young men. So the short version, living beyond your means just to look successful is one of the most financially destructive things you can do to yourself. The car you can't afford, the apartment that's too expensive, the clothes, the restaurants, the going out, the vacations, all of that stuff. If you're putting it on a credit card and you're completely financing your life, you're spending way too much money. And all of this creates a hole that gets deeper and deeper, and it's harder and harder to climb out of. And while you're doing it, it feels normal. Everyone around you is doing it, and that's the trap. So I just want to say I got into this predicament myself not even that long ago. I had probably $20,000 in credit card debt. Luckily, I deployed for about a year and I was able to pay it off, but not everyone gets that opportunity. But once I paid it off, it felt so rewarding. I loved looking at my credit card bill, not having any debt whatsoever. Real wealth is built quietly by people busting their ass. They're the ones who spent years living below their means. Spend less than you make, stay out of debt, and just be patient. I know it's boring advice, but it works. So go check out my other content if you want to learn more about this. So this last one is something I feel very strongly about. You cannot make everyone happy. It is not possible. And the harder you try, the more of yourself you lose in the process. I spent years making decisions based on what other people would think. And I can tell you firsthand, You end up somewhere you didn't choose, living in a life that doesn't quite feel like yours. There are going to be decisions in your life where someone is going to be upset with you no matter what you choose. A family member who doesn't agree with your career path, a friend group who doesn't agree with a decision you made, people online who criticize you no matter what, all of those people. And if you spend your entire life trying to manage what all of those people think, you will be paralyzed. You will make decisions based on fear and judgment instead of what's actually right for you and your family. Fear of judgment is one of the most powerful forces holding men back, and most of them don't even realize it's happening. So here's a standard I encourage you to use. Does this decision move me and my family forward? Is it honest? Is it responsible? If the answer is yes, do it. Do it even if people don't like it, even if you get pushback. Most of the people with the loudest opinions on your life have done nothing with their own. The people who are most vocal about what you should be doing with your life are almost never the ones who are going to be there when things get hard. Your real responsibility is to the people who depend on you and to the future you're trying to build, not to the critics. Stop seeking approval, start making decisions. That's how you lead. So those are my 6 hard lessons that every young man should learn, and implement them as soon as possible. Some of you need to hear it. And I know this because I needed to hear this when I was in my 20s. And while it might not be the sexy advice you'll ever hear, there's still good life lessons you should live by. So what else should young men know? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this resonated with you, please share it with a friend and subscribe to the channel. I put out new content every week. Thanks for watching.